Live from Chicago, Illinois, city of broad shoulders and thick thighs, it's the Pandemic Talk Show, featuring TJ Shanoff and the Stay-at-Home Orchestra. Today's guest, poet Iman Loren, actor Michell Fain, a visit with comedians in quarantine, Sandy Marshall. Now for your host, the hog butcher of the world, Justin Kaufman.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of the Pandemic Talk Show, live here from Chicago. I'm Justin Kaufman. Goldie, good to see you, buddy. And of course, TJ Shanoff down there. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, everybody, sing along. 1877 COVID kills. COVID, it kills. 1877 COVID kills. Wear a face mask today. 187.
This keeps going. That was my bit. I was going to do it. Let's keep going. When I worked at WGN for a couple years there, and thank you, buddy. That song was in the break every time I went to a commercial. It's like, it just was, they couldn't sell anything at night. So they'd be like, play the Cars for Kids jingle, man. Just keep doing it over and over and over. So that's like nightmares have come back from you playing that song.
2:30 in the morning.
Good to have everybody here. I'm excited. What a great show. What a lineup today. Yeah, this is going to be the best kind of lineup I could think of, because we've got Iman Loren, we've got Jordan Lee Cohen, Garrett Williams, Colin Rourke, and Rachel Page, who are all improvisers from Chicago who are quarantined, which is crazy. Think about that. I can't believe that. As we all know, as improvisers, it's one thing. It's like it's a dream to actually, live together when you're in your 20s, but I don't know about being quarantined together. I don't know how that feels.
Yeah, it's a dream to live with other improvisers, and then you turn 26, and then you go, I'm going to law school. I'm done.
Exactly. And of course, Michell Fain's going to join us too.
Hey.
Great Chicago comedian who has his own COVID story. And Javi Habavola, who's our Blackhawks analyst, will also join us. Goldie, you got the question of the day?
I do. I'm wondering, I've been listening to a lot of music. My friend Max has been sending me great music. I have been discovering great music during this time. And I'm just wondering right now for our audience, what's the soundtrack to your quarantine? What are you listening to get you through these days?
I love that. Yeah.
I don't know
what do you pick? You said, what is Max sending you?
Well, Max has been sending me some great stuff, Wes Montgomery stuff, some old jazz and stuff that I've been playing while I make dinner, which is every night. But I have been listening lately to Fetch the Bolt Cutters by Fiona Apple. I don't know what it is.
That's a hot jam.
She's phenomenal. It's like she wrote an album before quarantine happened.
How about you, TJ? What are you listening to?
Kind of depends. I don't want to promote, drug use, though it is legal. But if I'm not high, I'm listening to a lot of Tucker Carlson. When I'm high, I put on Mark Levin or Laura Ingraham, depending how much, edibles I've had, 60, 70 milligrams, you put on Laura Ingraham. And then you kill yourself. No, I've been listening to, this might surprise you, a lot of solo Paul McCartney. We've indoctrinated our 4-year-old son who just wants to hear Frozen to vary it up. We're doing a lot of 80s Paul.
Oh, there you go. Well, we've introduced our son to a bunch of 80s music. We're a big Masked Singer family here. So the Masked Singer's on Wednesday nights. And so whenever a song comes on, that's 80s vibe. My son has never heard that before. And then the guy in the rhino costume, singing it. Then we go afterwards to YouTube and we listen to all of it. But so I've been listening to a lot of old school Billy Ocean, which is great. I realized that. And we watched a show called Dispatches from Elsewhere, which is on AMC, which is a great show. And it stars Andre 3000 from Outkast. And he's great. And you would never know. And I'm like, my son, do you not know Outkast? He's like, no. And I'm like, all right, we needed the whole day. Essentially, I don't know. I know you have school and shit, but we're not doing that. We're doing Outkast for the whole day. So
it's a travesty that there's never been a mashup of Andre 3000 the Giant. Has that ever been done?
I don't know if that's been done.
Goldie, can you get on that, please?
I'll work on it. I'll see what I can pull off.
All right. Well, let's get to it.
In the meantime, let's hear from our audience at some point if you want. We'll be on the Facebook.
Perfect. Say that again. Facebook.
I'm going to say that again. Facebook, and also we got to say this now. We're all young, hip guys here. So we know all the buzzwords, which are like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. That's just like we used to do in the 90s at a show. You'd say, hey, you know what, everybody? If you like the show, like, comment, subscribe. Did I get the order right? Subscribe, comment, and like. Comment, subscribe, and like.
Yeah, something like that.
This is called driving engagement.
No one better, Goldie. No one better.
All right.
Justin, are you with us?
All right, our first guest. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I don't know what's happening here. Our first guest, a Chicago poet, and also a teaching artist at the Young Chicago Authors. She was the first ever youth poet laureate for the city of Chicago. Her book of poetry is called Commando. She also has a podcast, The Real Hoodwives of Chicago. My pleasure, one of my favorites, a tremendous talent, poet Iman Loren. Poet Iman Loren, welcome to the Pandemic Talk Show. There, feel it.
Will our guest appear on the screen today? Will our guest appear tomorrow? Ho, ho. Will our guest appear? Have they gone away? Time for a Goldstein solo. Sing it, Scott!
Hey!
You know, in improv, we call that pimping an ensemble member.
We had her for a second. We lost her, but hopefully she'll be back. Michael, take care. Right, her name is back up on the screen.
Someone coming back in here.
There we go. I feel we're getting close. All right, 1 second. I feel like this could be it. This could be it.
I feel like we got it.
Iman, good to see you. Good to see you. How are you?
Hi, Justin. I too have been listening to Paul McCartney as well. So yeah.
Oh, all right. There you go. You got it down. How is the sheltering in place been for you? How's the stay-at-home order been for you?
I've always loved my home. So I really hope that I get to stay here. And I'm hoping, I've thought about making an OnlyFans account, but other people have beaten me to it. So the competition is scarce right now. So hopefully people buy my book, and so I won't have to. But I might read poems on my OnlyFans account, so that's where I'm at right now.
That's good. For you, because you're a performance poet, you're a teaching artist. You do a lot of stuff for Young Chicago Authors, and I've seen you perform in front of hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands of people. So how do you reconcile with that part of your life having to be put on hold, put on pause as a performance poet? Are you digging on the idea of this kind of stuff like Zoom or doing the podcast? How are you adjusting?
I'm really appreciative of this platform right now specifically. It really means so much that we've got to see each other in both forms. Being that I am a teaching artist at Young Chicago Authors, we just finished Louder Than a Bomb, and we inserted ourselves into the virtual space. Me being a performance artist, I'm kind of thinking about what can I do to still get that. This has unfortunately shut down a lot of my gigs, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just trying to make the best out of myself. And just really being gentle with myself is the most important thing. I feel like also something that this whole pandemic has has made me realize is where my mentality is, what makes my mentality feel secure, what makes my emotions feel secure. And social media is a devil right now for me. Feeling like you gotta, yes, right? Feeling like you gotta be on the TikTok wave, or feeling like you have to, can I curse on here? I can't curse on
here.
You
can do whatever you want.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks. So feeling like I have to be a shit poster in order to go viral on Facebook, right? I have a few uncles and some dudes I've never fucked before. So it's I'm wow, okay, well, I guess this is the way. So I'm keeping to myself, and people who want me, they will find me in the way that they
can. It's interesting because you talk about just taking care, learning from this experience and taking care of yourself and putting yourself first, especially your emotions. It's hard to do that when we're not in these positions where we have to, you know what I mean? Before this, even in our lives, how did you take care? How did you cope? How did you make sure that you put yourself first before we were stuck in quarantine?
I would love to say that I wish I could be one of those women. I'd be I was so organized. I had my Google Calendar, I had my planner, and I still don't have none of that. You know what I'm saying? So, before it was like just morning pages and like just like having some type of routine. And I guess for me, it's like still making sure I upkeep some type of routine, because like I could be a really dirty birdie. Like who do I need to put deodorant on for? Not nobody, right? But I guess a routine for me now is just getting up out of bed, actively making my bed, actively going somewhere to sit down and write 3 pages of my day, actively making a poached egg. And I make beautiful poached eggs, G. Like, yeah. So that's really what has been harnessing for me, is just keeping some type of routine. So hopefully when we do come out of this, it won't be that big of a transition that
I will say this, TJ's whole family is so dirty right now because he's been using the bathroom as the studio. So it's like they're having to bathe and wash themselves in the living room, which is tough.
I don't mean to cut a business deal, but Iman, I do this as a studio space. It's about $5,000 an hour. We can work out a good rate. It's just, my bathroom's a wonderful place.
I'm not gonna lie, that shit is fire. That shit is sexy as hell, right?
I get it. I'm gonna shower. Okay, thank you.
Right, like yes. Wait, do the scrub a dub dub and play.
Are you Iman, are you writing? Are you doing creative work in this time? Do you find yourself motivated to do it?
Yeah, so right now I've been inspired to do a lot of visual work. So I'm also a visual artist. The last work that I had exhibited in a visual show was a collaboration between Slaps. They like produce art on like these postage slaps, and they did a collaboration with YCA, and I posted some work there. And so I've just been doing a lot of like visual work right now. Been thinking about like what podcasting is looking like for me moving forward, because my podcast is like a guest reliable type of show, where we do talk about, you know, intimacy, relationships, et cetera, and all of that is kind of on a standstill. So I'm just also just trying to trust myself enough that people will want to listen to what I have to say for a full hour. And just get into these poems, That's all I'm like really trying to do right now. Just keep staying to these poems.
Uh-oh.
I think Justin's had a stroke. I don't know if
Justin is either frozen.
Oh, no. Justin looks like he got good health care though, so he'll be good.
Sure does.
All right, hopefully
Yeah.
all right.
Justin, can you hear us?
That's good to know. Hopefully we're back. Am I back? I hope I'm back. I have no
You're back, Justin.
idea. It's probably my son. He's probably downstairs, on Twitch right now watching somebody play a video game.
I think it's a bonus feature. You never know when the show is just going to stop, and it's live. So there you go.
It's live. So Iman, and I have such respect for you, and you've been at such a young age. You've created and you've accomplished so much. The podcast is called Real Hoodwives of Chicago. The book is Commando, the first ever youth poet laureate of the city of Chicago. You got a poem for us? Can we get one out of you before we let you go?
I read a poem from my book. So
Yeah.
This is my book, Commando, published by Haymarket. Please don't buy from Amazon. Get it from me. Okay.
Buy it
I'll
direct.
read a poem of the book that I feel like kind of like, for me, it just kind of reflects a lot of like what is going on right now. For me, right? Cool. It's called Commando Manifesto. I like to wear my heart on my sleeves, and I don't wear them much, 'cause Chicago rips them right off of you. So I like to get naked. Now I'm a chested tube top, left my shoulders of skyscrapers open, ready for a kiss, ready for a blow, a job I can finish. Mom calls me a clever girl, said I would figure it out, taught me how to get out and be open, so I stripped, gave men what they've been asking for, kept plenty of blade in my tongue, might have knees that make pain or take it away. I learned my place and made it a throne. I fuck royally, turned my bed into a mausoleum of offerings. My body is a sacrifice of my winnings, my trophies out in the open. Who else should I lay bare other than myself? So I choose to be commando, ready for action, ready to fight. For this land is mine, and it's still rich, and it's still ours, me, and whoever I choose to be with For whatever reason, some call it a weak move, a vulnerable venture card, a roadmap of all my soft spots, easy targets. But here is where I plant my flag, because here might have been a pit stop for dudes who needed a home too. Chicago's bosom been sagging on there for a while now, so I give mine. Cook some meals, roll some blunts, and fuck for free, because that love shit costs nowadays. Ain't much up for profit anyway, but people still find a way. Use my name. Try to turn me into a gentrified zone. Throw some good words around me, add a splash of color, give me a stage and say work, bitch. I add the work, bitch. Some crack music, some real black ruthless. Grind my pretty and I talk real well. Deposit my dialects. Spit shine the ground I walk on, for this is mine. And nobody can take me. And that's that poem, y'all.
Wow. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm loving it.
That's our
Thank
first
you
live
so much.
poetry read.
I can't. I know. It just froze up. I'm like, I heard half of that, and I'm bummed because that's not what I heard was great. And I don't know what's going on with this. So shut it off and turn it back.
Hopefully, it provided something for everyone.
Yeah, I
It
know,
was
right?
fantastic.
Iman Loren, the great Chicago poet, who you can find the book Commando, buy it through her, and also her podcast, Real Hoodwives of Chicago. Iman, always so great to see you. Thanks for being a
You
guest.
too.
again.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
So I have no idea how it works. I mean, am I freezing? Are you freezing? What's the deal? Who's freezing?
You're fine now.
Okay.
We're frozen. But
Okay.
you know what it's a good time for right now?
What?
A commercial read.
I'm gonna fake a couple phrases later. I'm just gonna see if I can.
I
do
think-
it. All right, take it away.
Off Their Plate is a grassroots nonprofit that partners with impacted chefs and restaurant owners to provide meals to healthcare workers on the front lines of our fight against COVID-19 and provide economic relief to the restaurant workers affected most acutely by the pandemic. They're working in Boston, San Francisco, New York City, Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, Chicago, DC, Philly, and Seattle. And so far have delivered more than 23,000 meals across the country, including over 2,000 right here in Chicago, where they work with 7 restaurants and 20 health facilities. Anyone interested in more information can go to offtheirplate.com. That's offtheirplate.com.
All right, we're back here, the Pandemic Talk Show. So our next guest, this is fascinating. First of all, is anyone telling you what they're listening to, Goldie, like on our Facebook? Or
No,
YouTube?
but people are saying other things, but I'd love to get an answer. I see that Gabe Goodman is watching. I'd love to know what Gabe is listening to. It sometimes tells me who's watching and then it doesn't. But like, just let me know, let us know, and we'll read it on the air. Lisa Wirtz says, great show. Thank you, Lisa. Let us know. And Lisa Durbin is applauding. And, but you can let us know what your soundtrack is, or just keep engaging any way that you want. We're not here to tell you what to do.
And what did you say earlier, Scott? You like?
You have to like and
Yeah.
comment and subscribe. That's the way of the world.
That's the key.
That's how we keep Justin from freezing.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, right. Swear to God, man. I think it's just it's like the first day that it's nice out, and then my internet sucks, or I don't know what's happening. You know what?
You're here. We see you. You're good. Keep your head up.
Pay your internet bill.
You know,
Get
you
that
know me. I'm a
business stuff.
perfectionist, man. I don't like to mess around with this bullshit. So
When did
all
that
right.
start?
Yeah, baby. All right, so let's get to this next story. I love this story because as TJ joked around, I mean, I think it was always our goal and dream as young improvisers to live together, right? It wasn't just enough to be on stage together, hang out, but at some point you're like, yeah, let's be roommates. And you would get a place to do that. Well, with the quarantine, obviously, and the people sheltering in place, a lot of improvisers have split all over the place, went and lived with their parents or possibly on their own, whatever it might be. But this crew in Chicago has decided to shack up and stay together in quarantine. And they've been very successful. There's actually, I think there's 5 of them, but I think we got 4 of them today. They did a viral video, which we'll talk about. Mike, you've got a clip of that. You want to show a little bit of the clip that went viral that everyone's talking about? Go ahead.
There you go.
Maybe the
That's
fifth.
right.
Maybe
You
we
hear
got
that?
4 out of 5. There's Justin. I said we got 4 out of the 5. Maybe the 5th one is taking advantage of this time to use the bathroom.
Yeah, that could be it. Let's welcome in Jordan Lee Cohen, Garrett Williams, Colin Rourke, and Rachel Page from, I guess, the Improv There they are. Yeah. All right. Great to have you.
Hello, great to be here.
So, okay, you're all improvisers in Chicago and you are living together. Were you on your own team together or your own group, or you just improvisers living separately or together but separately?
A little bit of all of the above. We have, I don't even know how to go through the dynamics. We've lived together for 5 years, a year, and we've been together for a year. We've got a lot of different relationship dynamics all in one house.
Was that always the plan though? I mean, as improvisers, playing at Annoyance or IO or other places, was it the plan? Like it's just a better creative experience to actually live together with fellow comedians?
I think my personal plan was to avoid this at all costs. But it is the way things have shaken up for us.
Jordan knew it was coming.
Yeah. Scott, you're right. Our 5th roommate is probably taking a moment of silence to himself.
That's what I would do. That's a smart move. It's the move I would make.
Yeah, definitely.
How many
Is it-
bathrooms do you have?
Yeah, really.
How many bathrooms? 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's
doable.
better.
That's doable.
Yeah.
Could be
I don't
worse.
think I ever lived in an apartment when I was in my 20s that had 2 bathrooms. There's
Yes,
no way,
lavish.
right?
That's nice.
Yeah.
So okay, so is it nonstop bits? I mean, I won't talk about the video, but is it bit overload? Are you guys just always doing bits?
Yeah, pretty much. After about 6 p.m. it's Bit City, which is a blast.
I think we always are walking a line of either making a joke or going super emotional.
Yeah.
We've all really opened up.
I did have a moment a few nights ago where I said to Garrett, I think I've had enough tonight.
Yeah, really. There's no way to clear the stage or do a blackout or anything.
No.
Simple declaration. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to go to my room now.
No, you guys don't have a tech person that lives with you? You don't have someone who can do lights?
No.
We do turn the lights off on each other. Though.
Yeah.
Just say, that's it. That's enough for
That's
you.
enough for tonight.
So the idea, you guys gotten famous off of doing a quarantine video where it was a great video. We showed a little bit of it at the top here. Where'd that idea come from? And are you surprised in this moment that so many people have retweeted it and watched it?
Garrett?
Yeah, I think the video came from just like we liked the song a lot, and it's a Eurovision song, and now Eurovision's not happening this year, and so we're just like, this song's fun, and kind of just came. I don't know, really, it kind of just happened organically, like piece by piece for the video. Yeah, I think I'm surprised that so many people liked it because I think it's really dumb. But
I think it was a perfect manifestation of all of us feeling pretty manic, and I guess everyone it was like what, 2 weeks in?
Yeah.
I think it was
it
that
was very
special
early.
2 weekend period where no one knew what was going on, and it felt like the embodiment of that. It's like, well, we'll see how this goes, and turns out everyone was also going a little crazy.
I think so.
Yeah, right. I have a question just about, obviously with improvisation, it's about living in the moment. You guys are living together. I get all that. Are you being productive? Do you feel like you're being more creative because you're surrounded yourself with creative people, or is this just the way you would have lived anyway?
I wish we could say that we have 5 pilots on deck ready to go.
Yeah. I think we are using the needed break. But yeah, I think it's been maybe personally hard to be as creative as I was when the world was turning and normal. But I try.
yeah.
I don't know. We all try.
There were little bits here and there, I feel like, of like creativity, but there's a lot of times where I'm like, I think today I'm gonna learn French. And that's what I do spend all day doing.
Yes.
If Duolingo wants to sponsor us, we will take it.
Absolutely.
We're doing a lot of that.
The governor put out his big plan, and the last thing on the list is events and clubs and people getting back together in groups of over 100, and that's kind of the spot where you might find an improv club, an IO annoyance, and things like that. So that's pretty far down the line, and they pointed out it's going to be pretty far down the line. Does that affect you guys? Are you guys just like, damn, I got to get back on stages, or is what you're doing right now good enough?
I think we definitely would love to get back on stage. I think we also recognize that we're so lucky that we live with each other. We have so many friends who it's just them or with another person, and they don't get to do bits all day and get that out of their system. But yeah, we're definitely, I mean, improv and comedy is such an art form where you feed off laughter and you feed off the audience. So to not have that it's a little hard.
It's gotta be great bits, man.
I'm gonna go cry now.
We do
And there
clap
were
for
three.
each other. I feel like we clap for
We
each
clap
other
for each
every
other a
day.
lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If Garrett makes a good meal, I go, Garrett, that's a good meal. Great.
It's a good meal. Good job.
That's helping it, I think, a lot.
Well, it's what a great. Congrats on the viral success, and I hope you guys continue the good bits. I hope the bits don't get stale. I guess that'd be
We don't get stale.
yeah, right. This is Jordan Lee Cohen, Garrett Williams, Colin Rourke, and Rachel Page. Do you guys have a improv name? Because it's on the screen, Improv House, but I'm not sure if that's the
Say
thing.
improv house.
The Improv House.
Oh, I don't know.
We don't have
guys.
a name.
No.
I don't know.
TJ's a name maker. He'll get you a good improv name, right?
Yeah, what about hashtag improv house?
Hashtag improv.
I'm gonna go shower. Take care, guys.
All right, the hashtag Improv House. Thanks so much.
Hi, Improv House.
My Improv House is great, man. Whenever we would do it, when we were doing Schadenfreude improv, or we would be doing writing screenplays or getting a show together, we got on this kick, especially when we were doing the radio show a couple years ago, where we would go for like 2 weeks at a time and rent a house. And we would go up into, like Michigan area in the wintertime or something when it wasn't, hugely expensive or someone knew somebody. And we would live together for like 2 weeks doing that shit.
Like the
And
Stones.
It was awesome. It was the best thing ever, but I can't even imagine like living together all the time like that. That's crazy.
You when you toured Second City, you back in the day before people would fly all the time, but in the late 90s, you would drive almost everywhere in a van, sometime to like Philadelphia. And there's a wave of bits starting off really fun and then getting annoying, then getting more fun, and then you want to murder everybody. It's a bunch of improvisers together in an enclosed space is wonderful most of the time. When it's not, again, that's when grad school becomes an actual option.
A group of improvisers is called the murder.
The murder. There you go. Right. All right, you got another read for us, Goldie?
I do have a read for us. Well, it was just 4:20 in the afternoon, and we just had a month of 420, but it's just the beginning for the cannabis industry, and GrownIn.com is the news and information resource for those in the cannabis industry and those looking to learn more. GrownIn is a proud sponsor of the Pandemic Talk Show and a terrific place for you to learn about the ins and outs of Illinois' newest essential industry. Curious about MSOs, craft goes, and the latest in industry news? Be in the know and get in the grow with GrownIn. Subscribe today at GrownIn.com. That's a little shop for you.
That's a little shop. We did sports yesterday. Dempster was on the show, but we don't do as much sports, and we didn't get a chance last week to talk about John McDonough, the president of the Chicago Blackhawks, who was fired, which is, it's bittersweet because the Blackhawks, Goldie, I know you're a huge fan of the Blackhawks.
Big fan.
They won 3 Stanley Cups during his time. It's hard to say. I hate that when they decide it's time to move on. They haven't been great in the last couple of years, but boy, oh boy, man, they won 3 Stanley Cups, so it's hard to argue with that. A tough time for Blackhawks fans with that.
I mean, they've fallen off a cliff a little bit since 2015, since the last title. It's been a rough go.
Yeah. Well, because hockey has been, hockey's obviously like every other sport has been postponed, and we're not really sure when it's going to start back up. A lot of the hockey players and analysts, they're just off the grid. They're not around. So we thought we needed our own hockey analyst, a guy who played on the Blackhawks back in, I think it was 2004. He's a Finnish forward, which is great. And he's going to be our new awesome Blackhawks analyst. Ladies and gentlemen, Javi Habibola. Javi, welcome to Pandemic Talk Show. Javi.
Hello.
There he is.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Justin. Hello, Pandemic Talk Show. Great to see you, Javi Halavala, Chicago Blackhawks forward, 98, part of 99. Scott Goldstein, recognize you, United Center, lot 51L, parking permit. I know you, TJ Shanoff, recognize you, Twitter.
Okay, great.
Justin, great to
Okay.
be. I have an announcement to make. I'm a social media influencer, and I just signed a deal with Kiwi Protectol. Kiwi Protectol for leather and fabric footwear. This amazing Protectol creates invisible shield for leather, suede, nubuck, fabric. Do you have time for a couple more?
No, I think we got it, Javi. Thank you for that. And congratulations on that endorsement. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So
Just
what does it
signed
mean to you?
About an hour ago, I closed the
Yeah, well,
deal.
that's fresh off the press. So for you, what does it mean that there's no hockey? I mean, how are you adjusting to the fact that there's no hockey right now?
It's tough, you know, life without NHL hockey. It's like salt and pepper, and salt and pepper go together. I'm working to fill my time, you know, helping with other players with media training seminars. And I did a in-home inventory of all my khaki pants. I have 14 pairs of khaki pants.
Okay. All right. So how do you feel about hockey getting back on the ice without spectators? Like sports are thinking about, like maybe hockey comes back, but it doesn't have people in the stadium.
I feel good, Justin. It's a great question. I'm happy to address it. In hockey, we used to say go the distance. Now we have to say sit at a socially mandated distance from each other. And when we get back on the ice, the Hawks will have to take it one game at a time. And just remember, unfortunately, Bowman didn't know this. Defense wins championships. That's
True,
one
that's
thing
true.
that we have to keep in mind.
Do you remember
That's pretty good. That's good analyzing. It's stronger than I thought it would be.
So I've been taking some time to really dig in. You've given me notes from previous interviews, and I've taken them to heart. So thank you. You know,
Yeah, it's
like
great.
Scott Goldstein, you said this in the Pee Wee League. That prevent defense prevents you from winning.
Yeah, that's a football term, but yes, it's true. It's a football term, but thank you.
Don't clip on defense is what you told me in the Pee Wee League. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
I remember I wrote that, we wrote that comedy sketch for the Blackhawks convention, Javi Nagila.
We did. That's exactly right. That was there too. I was in the audience. I gave a suggestion. You didn't take the suggestion.
You know, I'm sorry about that. I should have taken it. You're supposed to take the first suggestion.
I thought
Javi-
Starbucks was a good place for a scene.
We had just done 3 scenes in Starbucks before that. So it was like we needed something a little bit different. I appreciate it. Then you were specific about where the Starbucks was. And I was like, sir, please sit down. I'm not sure who you are.
Lincoln Park Starbucks, that
Yeah.
one.
Right. Javi, let me ask you this, just, you know, as we wrap here, and you've done such a great job. I mean, you really are developing or evolving as an analyst. You know, when we first met, you're very raw, but I feel like you're getting the idea of what this is, this sort of debrief, the hockey debrief. But, you know, as we move forward, we think about what's next for hockey and what's next for society. Are you optimistic about what might be the future of sport and the future of society?
You take a look at what lies ahead, and the hot weekly items are what's in store at your local Jewel Osco. Dial body wash is only $6.49 for 18 fluid ounces, and Borden American sliced cheese.
Javi. No, I think you're reading the Jewel flyer.
Oh,
Yeah, just don't read. Go from the heart. Like, what do you think is going to happen with society right now?
well,
You don't need to read. Just give it to us from the heart. Yeah.
the Denver Broncos have so many weapons and can hurt you in so many ways, and there's no
No.
question about it. We're talking the John Elwayses and the Terry Davises.
Now I'm not even sure where you're on the.
in
If
all
you're
of
on
those.
the
1994 Broncos.
1994 Broncos page, but just from the heart, how do you feel right now? How do you feel about what's happening right now?
It might sound surprising, but Austrian citizens are said to have the most vacation time of any country. Austria guarantees workers legal minimum of 22.
Javi Havovola,
days.
he's almost got it. He's almost got it. The former Blackhawk, who is now our Blackhawks analyst. He almost got the whole interview. He did good there. Javi, thanks, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
Javi, have an Aguila.
Taking a look at an old friend, Javi.
I recognize him from the day he used to play on the line with Tomo Rutu and Radim Verbata.
Right.
So that wasn't Alexei Zhamnov.
No.
Okay.
You can tell from the mustache.
I mean, come on, the mustache, but any Blackhawks player in the 2000s could be the best bit ever. And before they went and they got Taze and Kane, any of those Blackhawks are the best bit ever.
I was there when there were like 800 people in the stadium. It was great. You got to know every one of the players because the season ticket holder party was literally meeting the players and skating on the ice.
They gotta, and this is a hot take, forgive me, they gotta take the home games off the air again. They gotta get those off TV.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Giving them away for nothing.
Sell the booze.
Our final guest, a great Chicago actor. And, I've seen this on Twitter. It's kind of annoying. You'll see speaking of hot takes, these a-holes who are like, can you name one person? Can you name one person who has COVID? No, you can't. It's a government conspiracy or whatever where they go after that. And I think in my head about people that I know and people that we love and cherish in our families and others who have had it. And I know all of Chicago knows Michell Fain, who told his story on Facebook and the media picked it up about his experience with COVID. And he's a great actor, Midnight Circus. He's also Santaland Diaries. He plays in that every year. And he's also a former Second City guy who also worked with TJ Shanoff. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome Michell Fain to the panel.
Hello.
Almost.
I hear a voice.
Hear him.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Let's see.
There you go.
I love a finish. Give me a button. Give me a button anytime, TJ.
I know. I'll always give you a button, Mitchell. I know what you need.
Thank you. I'm an old show queen. That's what I like.
Mitchell, how are you? First of all, you had COVID-19. You tested positive. You went through the whole experience.
I did.
You explained the whole experience to us. How was it? Tell us, how was it?
It literally feels like someone comes up behind you and hits you with a frying pan on the back of your head.
Ugh.
So it feels like you're in Throw Mama from the Train.
Exactly. It's just I've never experienced fatigue like that. I was delirious. While I was delirious, I found out that I made many phone calls, had many conversations, and ordered several things online that I have zero memory of.
So like when you're on an edible.
Which I am now, so thank you.
Us too.
So for that experience, for you to come forward, tell that story, and I know a lot of media picked it up and talked to it. Well, how was that experience for you to recount the experience, what happened to you?
I'll tell you what, it was so scary. I got it before anybody else I knew got it, right? Same. So like, I knew that the smart thing to do was to stay home, isolate, be by myself. I was grateful to have a place by myself to be, but there were so many questions I couldn't answer. How high a fever is too high a fever? How badly are you short of breath that it's time to go to the hospital? Like, what can I do to relieve the symptoms? All these questions. And I have a great doctor and we're in contact, but I can't, I don't have her like on my speed dial. Who says speed dial? I'm so old. And so I actually was really eager to share once I felt better, because I'm sure that there are other people who were stuck in that same situation. It's like, do I go to the hospital yet? I don't know. Or do I like die here out of pride or something? That was why I shared.
You hear so many people now trying to politicize this, and people who have not had it in their life or around them saying, you know what, we should just open up the country and everybody should get sick and we should have herd immunity because that's the only way we're going to get through this. When you hear that and you engage with that in social media, what's your response to it?
To be honest with you, I have had to, and this sort of ties into what you guys were talking about before about what you're listening to. I've had to sort of really remove myself from getting involved in any of those conversations. It enrages me. It's so full of lies. I have a very, very, very good friend who's a young man. He's a doctor, emergency room doctor in the South Bronx. So I get updates from him on the daily about what is really going on and how serious this thing still is. So I have to disengage from that stuff. So mostly I've been listening to like obscure soul singers from the 70s. That's what I've been listening to.
I saw you post that today.
I can't watch Ozark. I'm sure it's great. I don't want to watch Unorthodox or whatever that's called. They all seem they're too cynical. There's too much pain. I only want to dance to Denise Williams in my underwear. That's it.
Oh, Roberta
Right?
Flack. Sure.
Roberta Flack, right? Also, I want to say this to TJ. You know that I now have I'm friends with one of the original cast members of Grease 2. We have an in.
Wow.
Who? Is it Lorna Luft?
No, but God forbid, please. Is somebody watching Lorna? Is she okay? No, the guy who played Demucci and I went to the same college.
Wow.
You know, let's do it for our country.
Yeah, that's like the 11 o'clock number. It's like that show's I've never been in love before.
He's my new BFF. He's the coolest.
That's awesome.
You guys work together? TJ was saying before we started that you guys worked together on a ship, on the cruise ship?
We did. So, I mean, as you can imagine with Mr. Shanoff, so many bits, I'm surprised the show went up. So
I don't think the show did go up when all was said and
No, I
done.
think it did. I think you might be right. Did it actually go on? It was a blast, man. It was a
A lot of
blast.
fun. I love working with you.
I love working with you too. We make each other. We're two old Jews. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Right.
Wait, are we 4 old Jews? What's happening? Is that what's going on?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
more or
40,
less.
I'm 46. I mean, come on.
Half Irish German over here, but yes.
Yeah, you know.
It's all right. Close enough.
All right. So for you, I always like to ask this because I know you to be a pretty social guy. Like you've got a lot of people around you. If you're following you on social media, if you're any party that you're going to that's a party record, you walk in the door, Mitchell's by the door. And it's okay. So how is this affecting you? How does this affect the idea of staying at home and what you went through and everything? To be such a social person, to be an extrovert, to have to be by yourself.
You know what? I'm one of those extroverts who loves to be by myself. Like I recharge alone. So I'm particularly well adapted to being alone, but usually it's after exhausting myself by socializing. So I'm doing a lot of FaceTime, a lot of Snapchat, and I'm doing this thing where I call it chair talk, where people just text me. I don't invite anybody. They just text me. I have a huge backyard, and they text me and they say, I'm coming over. So then I put a chair 10 feet away from where my chair is. They come in my backyard and we chat.
Chair chat.
Yeah, all you have to do.
Didn't Clint Eastwood do that a couple years ago, but with nobody sitting in the chair? Do you remember that?
Exactly. I stole it from Clint. I saw it from Clint, but it's been really nice because like I said, I've invited anyone who knows about it to just text me and say I'm 5 minutes away, and I put out a chair and we have a conversation. It's been
great. I'll take you up on that. That's awesome. Mitchell, how are you feeling? And when it's all said and done now, it's been a couple of weeks. Are you 100%?
I am 100%. The fatigue lasted a good 2 weeks after the rest of the symptoms went away, but I feel really strong. This is a terrible joke, and I know that I'm going to go to comedy hell for it, but I've lost the COVID-19 that everyone else seems to be gaining because I was, thank you. So I feel slim. I feel young and sexy. I'm feeling pretty good.
Good. Michell Fain, great Chicago actor and performer, and we look forward to seeing you back on stage sometime soon. Mitchell, good to hear that you're well, and thanks for being our guest today. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, guys. So good to see all of you.
Be well, Mitchell. Let's do it for our country. Our country wants us to. Grease 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Grease 2. That's a way to end this program, the Pandemic Talk Show. We'll be back tomorrow. We got a great show tomorrow. I mean, we got such great shows lined up. I'm so excited to introduce Albie Gill, who is a 5-year-old podcaster. He is doing a podcast on COVID-19. He was on CBS, I think it was Sunday morning or one of the national shows, and he's going to join us. Chicago kid, 5 years old.
Our demographic.
If we're bragging, my son is going to be 4, and last week he literally peed in our kitchen trash can. So every kid's got skills. All right.
Hey, I did that once in my 20s. I mean, sometimes
Skills to go around. And
you got to go somewhere.
Contributosaurus will be with us tomorrow as well. So join us at 4:00. Thanks, everybody.
See you tomorrow. And maybe we're on, maybe we're not.
I need more money or I quit, and I'm not fucking around this time. Where's my money? Where is it?